Hey everyone, today we're going to rank all of the new beasts in Samkok New Force. We're going to check out their skills as well at Unlock and then at 15 star, which is the current max right now. They do have awakened skills, but you need server day 43 to even get to them. So we're not even going to talk about those since we can't do it yet. So let's get right into it, starting with one of the beasts you should unlock right away. Oh, but before that, I got to change these. There we go. So, Mighty Lion. I just realized I wrote Mighty Tiger there. Mighty Lion is going into triple S tier. At Unlock, he grants 1 rage to the team before odd numbered turns, and it's impervious to other effects, meaning it's always going to work, plus a 10% damage bonus for 1 turn, which is undispellable. But at 15 star, that's increased to 2 rage and a 30% damage boost, plus a 20% crit bonus. Right now, this guy's super important to not only help combat the Fox, but to make sure your rage generators can still generate rage in their first turn, but also to get Lubu to the rage requirements for his AoE. So if the pattern from the devs from the previous game holds up, we should get a game function where we can guarantee, like a character like Zhuge Long, who's generating rage for us, we'll be able to guarantee that he gets a skill off no matter what. That's based off of X Samkok and Isekai Saga. Both of the games stem from the same devs here, but only time will tell if that'll come around. So as of right now, he's good enough to go into triple S tier. Next up, we have the Truculent Snow Ape going into S tier. At Unlock, this guy's got a 40% chance to apply freeze, which is basically a stun but worse because you can't attack the unit that's got freezed or frozen. I can't talk right now. So he applies that to the highest attack enemy, but only if there are more than 4 enemies at the start of the turn. Freeze can't be blocked or removed, and it lasts for 1 turn and can only apply to each enemy once per battle. At 15 stars, the freeze chance is now 100%, which is good, and it works if there are more than 2 enemies on the field, which is even better, but it still only works on 1 enemy once per battle, but they'll now be hit with a debuff that lowers their basic attack damage by 20% and prevents them from using Pursuit and Counter for 1 turn. So freeze is nice since the enemy can attack, but since you can't attack them either, it's just kind of prolonging the fight, although it can prevent Lubu from getting off his first AoE in turn 1, since he's probably going to be the enemy with the highest attack, or like their main damage dealer basically, right? So it can prevent their main damage dealer from getting off attack in the first turn, which is what puts them in an S tier because it can only happen once per enemy and you can't attack them. So it's kind of protecting their main damage dealer as well. So it's kind of iffy. He can help, he might hurt. So I'm thinking middle of the road's pretty safe for him. Next up, we got Jade Rabbit going into B tier. He just damages the back row enemies after an even numbered turn ends. That's it. Next up, we have Stygian Scorpion going into A tier. At Unlock, this guy applies venom to 2 random enemies at the start of the battle and only has a 25% chance to deal damage equal to 40% of their max HP. So really high damage, pretty low chance to even work. That happens before the enemy takes action, then it expires after taking effect. At 15 star, it applies to all enemies, still only a 25% chance that it'll even do anything, but it does deal 50% damage as HP, or 50% HP as damage now. So I'm really not a fan of using beasts for just damage like this guy, because we have units that deal damage, and our beasts should be giving us some CC or support stuff that we can't get from our units. So at a 25% chance, most of the time it's not even going to be doing anything. Like I'll probably proc once per turn for an enemy, or it could just even do absolutely nothing at all. And again, just like the Mighty Tiger, there should be a game function coming out that's going to be swapping around HP between our allies and enemies. It's pure speculation. I didn't check the CN version, just going based off of what they've done for all their other games. So that would be a hard counter to this guy. And based off the fact that 3 out of 4 times he's not going to be doing anything at all, he's in A tier. Next up, we got the Brutal Bear going into A tier as well. So at Unlock, he has a 50% chance to execute the latest HP enemy hero if they're below 25% HP when the turn ends. This ignores HP reduction caps like the Jellyfish, which is crazy, as well as invincible shields, but it won't work against Unyielding or against bosses. And it only works once per battle. At 15 star, it just executes the lowest HP enemy under 50% HP when the turn ends, once per turn, now twice per battle. Seems pretty good, right? Just straight up kills the enemy, but there's a beast that's basically a hard counter to this guy. Plus, if they have Unyielding, he's just not going to do anything at all. Next up, we have the Cloud Phoenix going into B tier, just slightly better than Jade Rabbit. He damages enemies in the front row, which is where like Zhuge Long and some rage generators will be. So it just edges out Jade Rabbit, but like really who cares, right? So speaking of the hard counter to the Brutal Bear, we have the Occult Moose going into triple S tier. At Unlock, he gives 10% of HP as a shield to all allies before an odd numbered turn, plus a 10% hit buff for 1 turn. But at 15 star, this guy gets a lot better. The shield increased to 30%, which is pretty big, the hit buff to 20%, and he can now revive an ally twice per battle, effectively making the bear useless. If you have the moose, both times the bear is able to execute people, because you only do it twice per battle, then the moose is going to revive them. So it just kind of takes him out of the fight entirely. It's kind of a wasted space, or a wasted spot. So now we have Savage Tong heading to SS tier. At unlock, it deals true damage equal to 250% of attack to 3 allies with the lowest HP at the start of the first turn, and then reduces their healing by 30% until the turn ends. There's also a 50% chance for this to happen at the start of each following turn, and it's undispellable. At 15 star, the true damage increases to 400% of attack to all enemies, and the healing effect reduction increases to 50%, which is pretty big. Plus another 10% for every 10% of the target's HP lost, up to 100%. They still have a 50% chance to trigger in the following turns, but they now deal an extra 10% extra damage for every 10% of the enemy's remaining HP. So the healing reduction is really nice to help combat the overflow healing converted into shields. That's most likely going to become more common, again, if Samkok has anything to do with it. Pretty sure we get that after we crown up our units, right? But they're going to add that in. Like, I don't see them not adding that in. One of the next beasts has it, but not in a way that this guy can combat. But there are more ways. So Lamenting Birds going into B tier. Probably above these two, actually. Deals damage to the lowest HP enemy after an odd number turn, and with some hopes and prayers, it could kill someone, and it just might change the tide of the battle, but it's mostly his wishful thinking. But he could actually do something, unlike these other two right here. So the Astral Cat is up next, going into SS tier. At unlock, this guy heals the lowest HP ally by 400% of attack when they drop below 60% max HP, and it ignores heal bans, which is huge. And it's triggered up to 2 times per turn and twice per battle. Then at 15 star, the heals increase to 600% of his attack, and also cleanses 3 stacks of a debuff and converting overflow healing into a shield at a rate of 1-to-1, which is really good. 2 times per turn, 8 times per battle now. Really good for increasing survivability, counters the healing reduction from Savage Tong, although Tong can still work against other healing methods like units, and I'm sure there'll be more ways in the future. So next, the Roverdog going into A tier, surprisingly. At 15 star, which is really easy to get, he heals the lowest HP ally by 300% of his attack when they drop below 60% HP. It says up to 6 times per turn and 1 time per battle, but that's wrong. It's up to 6 times per battle and 1 time per turn. But he's actually really good. He can do some decent healing. And then finally, with the Baneful Ninetails going into SS tier. At unlock, he reduces all enemies' rage by 2, plus a 50% chance in each turn to reduce 2 random targets' rage by 1, and is impervious to other effects, meaning it can't be resisted. At 15 star, the rage reduction increases to 4 for all enemies, which is a lot, and the 50% chance increases to 2 rage reduced and applies to all enemies. Just really good beast here, because if your enemies don't have enough rage, they're basically screwed. It's that simple, really. At least right now, the game's all about getting enough rage. So if your enemies or you don't have enough rage, you're not doing any skills, you're not doing any damage, you're not healing, you're not reviving, you're just shut down, right? So that is my tier list. Let me know if you disagree or agree in the comments below. And if you're still here, make sure you subscribe. Surprisingly, well, maybe not surprisingly, a ton of people who are watching Samkok New Force videos are actually not subscribed right now. I think about 92% of my viewers aren't subscribed. So I would really appreciate it if you give me a sub, and I'll catch you next time. See ya.